What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color that made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall to C suite and senior level positions. My name is Ryan Williams, and today, as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes
What's up? What's up?
and Levon Maynard.
Keeping it simple today. No
Yeah,
fancy titles, nicknames, anything. It's all good.
no, I gotta keep you on your toes. Keep you on
Right,
your
right.
toes.
For sure.
All right, this week we have an action-packed show for you. At the top of the show, we'll discuss Google trying to end the Dr. Gabriel feud, Airbnb investing in Atlanta tech, and the city of Morgan taking cybersecurity more seriously in the wake of Oldsmar's water plant hack. In topic one, Levon will run down a new browser tracking hack. Said that right, browser tracking hack. There you go.
Mhm.
And topic two, Shannon will break down the new Slack for Android vulnerability. All of that, of course, followed by what we've been playing. But first, how's your guys' week been?
Mm. It's been pretty good for me here. I've just been, I don't know, I've just been working pretty busy with my job, working remote. I feel like work some somewhat long shifts, but I'm also like training because I got a new role in my job as well. But uh,
Okay.
it's been going pretty well. Me and the wife staying safe, staying healthy, and yeah, not much going on. Just playing games, watching some Netflix, Hulu, all the streaming services, kicking back. Took the dog for a couple walks here and there. Went to the beach. Uh, that's been pretty much my life.
Okay.
my wife
Going
last
to the
my life
going to
last
the
week.
beach.
Yeah,
Yeah, like most of America right now, they can't go to the beach.
right.
Frozen
I know.
solid.
I know. Fortunately, I'm you know still shout out to people in Texas going through the outage right now. That's a pretty big issue. Thankfully, I'm not in that situation right now, so I could. But you know, um, but in my thoughts and prayers, make sure everybody in Texas is doing okay. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, how about you, Shannon? What you up to?
Man, it was very cold here. I didn't see no beaches, unless you count walls of snow as beaches. Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw a lot of that. But now we got beginning of this week was brutal, man. We got some negatives for our temperatures and whatnot. We got down to -20 at one point, and I was just like,
Mm,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. I was like, I'm not leaving this house unless I have to leave this house. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Hmm.
it was very cold. Got some more snow, which in our neighborhood they hadn't even plowed it yet, so it was packed snow that everybody was driving on, and threw some more snow on top of that. So I was like, nah, I don't know what's under this. I'm not about to go go driving on this. But
right.
yeah, but to piggyback what you said about Texas too, man. Yeah, for sure, man. My thoughts and prayers as well because they were in it, man. Like it was pretty bad for them. Actually, Louisiana and Mississippi too started experiencing some power outages for some weather they got.
Hmm.
So that's pretty bad. I got a friend down there that he's been traveling to different places and whatnot to trying to find places with electricity. Like he's in Austin. He went to Galveston, stay in a hotel because they had electricity. Then he was with a friend in San Antonio, and then they started losing electricity. Like it was pretty
Yeah.
bad. Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
he got an email from his rental company for his apartment, and they were like, "Yo, it's messed up over here."
Right.
I don't mean to laugh at that, but like they told him
Right.
straight up,
Yeah.
like, "Hey,
Yeah.
it's not good
It's
over
serious.
here." Yeah.
I mean, could you just imagine being like without food, like not food, but without water and electricity for multiple days, like
So
going on like
they were having
4 hours?
food shortages too. So he sent me some
Oh
pictures.
wow.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with. I didn't know about it, but HEB down there in Texas is it's a grocery chain. Like
Mm.
it's a
Mm,
huge grocery stores they have, and he's just showing me walls of empty stuff, like in the
Right.
freezer, on
wow.
the shelves. Like they like that was a thing too. You know what I mean? It wasn't just them losing electricity. Like food was shorted.
Right.
They had shortages of food, and people are in lines at like kitchens and whatnot. It was wild, man.
That's crazy.
Mm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Hopefully, everybody gets power back soon. I haven't been really keeping up with the weather because I'm other part of the world, right? But
Yeah.
hopefully things start to go the other way soon, though.
It's supposed to start warming up. They said
Okay,
I think next couple of days it might get up to like the 60s, 70s, something like that.
okay,
So that might help out. And I think I think majority of people got the power back, but I think there's still some thousands of people without power still. And then the water thing is still a big issue, especially people's pipes bursting and then they're having like a boil water
water notice.
Notice, to make sure that they're boiling water because it's not safe and maybe like contaminated or what have you. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. The only thing on the news here is they tracked the mayor who basically told everybody off and then had to resign.
I saw that.
and then the senator who went on tried to go on vacation.
Yeah.
So they're tracking that. Like that stuff's on the news, but aside from that, they're not really getting into it. I didn't really do much this week myself. Just prep for a class. They actually did pay for it, so I'll be starting it probably tomorrow. Like today's not a good day. I'm tired.
Right.
No studying is gonna happen today.
Yeah.
But aside from that, just chilling. Like literally, I did nothing all week. It was great.
Yeah, that's the life to live right there.
Yeah.
Kick back a little bit.
Yeah. So we got a few little topics I like to pick up at the beginning, just things that are callbacks to previous episodes. Trying to put a bow on things. But in this case, there's one bad one, two good ones, right? So the bad one, so to speak, is Google. So in another article written about Google is trying to end the controversy over its ethical AI team, and it's not going well. So this article comes from, let's see if I can get the pop up. CNN actually. So CNN basically reported that Google is trying to basically make amends with Dr. Gabriel. But in the midst of doing this, there was a Margaret Michelle, who was like her right-hand lady, or also another manager in AI who was terminated during the whole, like maybe an hour after they said, yeah, we need to do better and we're going to hire more managers to basically try to retain people, and we're going to be more sensitive to people's needs. Then they let this lady go, and it could be a rightful termination for all we know. It's just whoever's on their PR department is not doing a good job. Like you got to deconflict. Like you got to know the room.
Right.
How do you guys feel about this?
Yeah,
What'd you glean from this?
Yeah, so it's definitely I don't know. It's a obviously controversial issue. There's like maybe not multiple. There's a couple sides to the case as far as like what's going on, because we don't really. Also, we see that there's something going on internally. It seems at Google, people aren't happy in the workplace, as well as there's some issues with a person that was recently let go, that they potentially were accessing some files and downloading files that they shouldn't have been accessing prior to her getting fired. So it's kind of like one of those things where maybe we're still trying to understand the full scope of the issue, but at the same time, it's kind of a bad look coming from the Google side of the house. And besides just kind of replacing the original doctor, I think she was a doctor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the original person getting replaced with a new black person to kind of like maybe try to ease the tensions. Like, oh look, we just we found another black person we could put in this spot that that's gonna do things better than the people that were there before. So I don't know. It's kind of to me, it's a little. I'm a little conflicted, but I mean, I hope that Google does the right thing internally and takes a look at some of the processes and procedures and make sure that everybody's being taken care of, everybody's being appreciated, and not like I don't know. Sometimes there's like internal struggles within teams that people are trying to look better than other people, and they're trying to I don't know. They're trying to show up and get the next promotion and put everybody else underneath the bus. So hopefully things within Google kind of straighten out, and people are kind of like get satisfied with their jobs. They do those polls every now and then. You see like the top 10 or top 100 places to work or something like that. And I'm not sure right now if Google's going to be in that list. So hopefully,
Right.
hopefully things get straightened up a little bit over there. But what about you, Shannon? You have any thoughts on it?
So here's the thing. I do have some thoughts on it, and I'm probably in the minority when it comes to people of color, right? So
Yeah.
what they did to Dr. Gabriel, if all that being true, that's wrong, right? And they said after the PR was bad, like you said, Ryan, they need better PR for this, right? Because after this all went down, like it was not a good look back in December or whenever it was that it happened, November, December, whenever it was they let her go. But what I kind of have an issue with now. So Margaret Michelle or whatever her name is, they did finally
Right.
let her go. Like she was suspended for a little while. They just cut her accesses, till they did their investigation, and then they finally came out and said, okay, yes, you're going to be let go, but it was for violation of different policies and whatnot. And they made it seem like it wasn't based on her backing of Dr. Gabriel, right? But what I have a problem with is Dr. Gabriel. So they put Marianne Croak, is that her name? Croak is her name?
Yes, I
Yeah.
believe it's
Who was
Croak.
who is in charge of the AI teams now, black female, right? Good for them for that. But what I have a problem with is Dr. Gabriel is going out there now and saying, okay, it doesn't matter that you replaced with another black woman. You still have to do. There's other things that should have been done, which I don't disagree with. But Google, this is one of those things where I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to fix, right? Like I can come up with a binder, I can come up with a book that says, okay, these are going to be the new policies, procedures, or whatever. But it's a culture that's there, right? We know this is a culture that's just not going to break just like that, right? So it seems like she's not going to be satisfied no matter who they put in her place. Because if it had been a white person, she still would have complained, I think, right? But I think what it comes down to is that she's hurt because she got fired and probably unjustly so, right? So to her, anybody that follows her is just going to catch her vengeance, and that's not the way I see this being able to go. So it's like Star Trek, right? So the needs of the many are greater than the needs of the few or the one, right? What happened to her? Yes, she does deserve an apology. She's probably not going to get it. I'll just tell you that right now. Big companies like this, they don't go around apologizing saying, hey, we did wrong for this, that, and the third, unless it costs them money. And this didn't cost them any money, right? It's a bad PR look, but it hasn't cost them anything. So she's probably not going to get that apology. She probably needs to be like, okay, I want to see y'all do better. Just make it happen. But she is just, I looked at some other articles and like she's on social media and she doesn't like this woman because she believes she's gaslighting and doing this, that, and the third. And it's like, I don't know. I have a little bit of a problem with it. It's not going to be fast moving if the changes happen, but the changes do need to happen. We do all agree with that. Now, again, I'm willing to give Google a little bit of leeway here, right? Like this is not something that's going to be fast moving. It's going to happen immediately, right? It's not going to be a rip the Band-Aid off and this is what we are now. People won't even believe it if they come out and say it. I can tell you that right now. If they were to come out and be like, okay, yeah, we changed, everything's good now. No, because you had a culture there that was not conducive to minorities or good for minorities, right? So I don't know. That's where I think that I mean, I like that they put someone else up there and they changed the way that they're going to be reporting. Is what they say in the article is that everyone has to report to Marianne Croak now. So it seems like
Right.
it's centralized on how they're doing the teams, and that wasn't the case before, right? So that could have led to some of the dysfunction that they had and what happened with this manager letting Dr. Gabriel go. So this could be the big fix for what they have, but we don't know because like you want, Ryan, like you want to see tangible things, tangible processes come out of this and tell us something is changing that's going to make this better.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like you said, it will take some time. It is between a rock and a hard place. Uh, from is my stance, right? So the whole thing with Margaret Michelle, she was breaching policy and all that, like exfiltrating data, whatever their user policies are, and she's in breach of them. That's one thing. You know what I mean? Like, so the jury's still on that. I don't know if she was exfiltrating data or whatever caused her to get suspended and then get fired.
She said
When
it
it
was
comes
news
to
to her. She said it was news to her in the article. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So like, yeah.
she did
Yeah.
say it.
Right.
So I don't know what's going on there. Like, you can go many different directions. I'll wait till the dust settles on that topic. But then when it comes to Dr. Gabriel, like all they had to do was just simply issue an apology, reinstate her. That's all they had to do. This is fairly simple. But they dug their feet in the sand, and I think it's great that another woman of color has been put in that position, and then they've tried to streamline it where she is like in charge of her section. So I think that's awesome. But I do get a little bit of what Dr. Gabriel's saying. Like, yes, she's probably is hurt because like literally they forced her out. From what we know so far, they forced her out with little explanation and then no apology. Just like, yeah, we're gonna some of the stuff you said that you wanted for your resignation, we're gonna do that, but we're not gonna bring you back on, which sucks. So I see her being kind of hurt about that. But I don't want to see any infighting or squabbling amongst, these two women of color who are in these great positions. Like, these are very intelligent people to be in charge of ethics and AI. I can't even wrap my brain around it. So I want both of them to succeed. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh man, I'm rooting for both of them. Like, hopefully she does usher in new policy. Miss Croak, I think we're saying her name right. It brings in new policy. She brings in a new era of people of color in Google doing great things. And hopefully Timnit Gebru one day gets her an apology, and as well as maybe she starts a company of her own or works for a rival. But, I'm rooting for both of them.
Yeah,
so
agree.
Yeah. So good news. We have Airbnb, right? So Airbnb is a San Francisco-based company. They're coming to Atlanta. So just like Microsoft, Apple, Comcast, as well as many different tech companies, they see that Atlanta is a place of talented tech individuals, and they're bringing their company, and they're extending their services to Atlanta to build a bigger and better industry with Black talent, basically. So I'm all for this. I think this is awesome. I think every week it seems like we have something is happening, whether it be in historical Black colleges or just Atlanta in general. It's becoming a movement. I think that's great. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I think it's obviously it's a great thing. I think it's obviously a great opportunity for people in Atlanta. Obviously, Atlanta is maybe a prime. I don't know the statistics, but I'm assuming that there's obviously a large collection of African American people that live in Atlanta, maybe compared to
51%,
other.
51% is the number.
51%. 51%. So yeah, that's going to be bringing a lot of jobs for the people there, and I'm hopeful that this, along with the other tech hubs that are bringing out the tech jobs out there, this is going to be bringing, I don't know, a lot of African American people, minorities in general, get access to these high paying tech jobs in their community. Obviously, it helps everybody out. I know we talked about this a couple podcasts ago, but just the fact that I think they also had some technical institutes that opened up in Atlanta somewhere that allow people to get higher education in the field of in the technology field. So that combined with these tech companies coming out here, building out the big tech hubs to allow access to these high paying jobs, or these good paying jobs, or I assume good paying jobs, but jobs that are in demand right now. And I think it's just a great opportunity for people to get, get a leg up in the tech industry. I think a lot of these companies are some big name companies that a lot of people want to be a part of, as opposed to being maybe just like with a regular mom and pop's business or something like that. These are some like big, top notch jobs. So most of the time people would have to go, live in California or something like that to get jobs like this, or maybe Seattle to find some of these big tech hubs. But now that they're coming into some of these other communities, other big cities, I think this is a great thing. Hopefully this brings a lot of opportunity for the minority people in that location. What do you think about this, Shannon?
So yeah, exactly right. So like you were mentioning, Seattle, you got Silicon Valley out there in California. So remember, a lot of them were starting to move to Texas. Remember,
right.
Like they're moving their headquarters to Texas and bringing jobs in there. But this is a good thing, right? So like we did mention a few podcasts ago, you had was it Southern Power Company, I think, that made a $25 million investment there. Even Google, even though we weren't We may not have been too nice to him the last subject.
That's right.
They started throwing some money in there too. They got that
Right.
technology center they're building down there. So they're following the talent that is being set up for Atlanta. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of HBCUs down there in the South, especially around Atlanta. You know what I mean? And in
Yep.
Georgia in general, a lot of HBCUs
Absolutely.
down there, and this is a good thing to see because this is one of those things where they're putting their money where their mouth is, right? Like this is not a cheap investment for them to do this, right? Like there's real moves being made, real money is going to have to be spent to follow up on this investment, and so I like to see that. And yeah, like I told you, 51% is the black population alone down there.
Yeah.
I think the next minority that was there though was Asian, and it was like 4 to 5% or something like that. So like it's a mostly black city, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to exclude any people of color or anything like that, but like looking at the demographics for Atlanta, that's just the way that it shapes up. But no, this is a good thing for sure. It's a good thing, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper cost of living too, right?
Yeah.
Than it is out in California and Seattle, you know. But
Right.
but here's the thing: if you're going to make Atlanta a technology hub, you know, in 10 years, you may be following that same track, right? Like you give them good paying jobs. That's when the groceries go up. That's when the rent goes up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Atlanta may be the new Silicon Valley, but that means it may get expensive here.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point because the cost of living, things like that, may start increasing, given the value of the property. Especially if there's a lot of big paying jobs out there, people are gonna be like, "Oh, I want to move out to Atlanta," and then everything's gonna start getting more expensive. But I guess I have to see how it affects the community. But I think it's obviously like everybody's been saying, it's just a great thing in general just to have that opportunity. I think especially if I was living in Atlanta and these companies started coming out here, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to try to apply for a job at Microsoft, Apple, Comcast, or obviously Airbnb, and I think that'd be right up there. That'd be one of my goals for sure. So
Yeah, definitely. I have some family in Fayetteville, Georgia. I went
oh
there to
yeah,
visit them. Like what you can get for your money, like 4 times the house, 4 times the land.
yeah, right.
What I'm paying for in Florida, hey,
Yeah,
definitely scoop some of that land up before it starts getting expensive.
that's
Didn't
right.
Definitely.
Dwayne Johnson just buy like a ranch out there or something? He's bought like all this land or whatnot.
I
Yeah,
bet.
Rob.
I bet
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of land. Like when I went to his house, I saw how much land he had around him. Like literally, I waved at his neighbor. They were that far away where you could just wave at them.
Hey,
But hey, y'all,
hey.
that's what's up.
Shoot, that might be an investment opportunity for people in general too. Just maybe buy a house at a cheaper rate or whatever that's closer to the city, decent distance, and as these tech hubs start coming in here, it's going to drive the value up more and more, and it'd be
Yeah,
maybe a
definitely.
nice little investment for some people.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, you're gonna do
That's
that.
on
You're
the
gonna get you
agenda.
like 5 or 6 places there.
Yeah, yeah, man.
That's what's up.
So another callback. So remember we talked about Oldsmar water plant, right? So in the wake of that happening, you have the city of Fort Morgan. They take steps to protect the water supply from cyber attacks. So in this article, again, I gotta get a second screen. Um, so on Friday, it was announced that they were adding new protections for its department, inspired by the incident. The addition of a specialized operational technology or OT cybersecurity system is intended to protect the city's water supply from malicious hacks. Um, so they see that there's an issue, which makes me believe that this is not an isolated issue with just Oldsmar. And now they're starting to take the necessary steps to protect their water plants. Hopefully, this is also extended to the water grids, to the power grids, and so on and so forth. Because if we're not protecting our utilities, then you know we, you have the issues that are happening right now with just natural disaster, let alone a man-made disaster, and what could happen to the residents due to it. So I thought it was a pretty good article. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so I think the obviously it's great. I'm glad that they're taking the initiative to actually deploy some cybersecurity mechanism to protect their infrastructure. And I was grazing through the article too that you sent here, and it's also kind of curious if we talked about it before. I'm not for sure if there's a reason why these particular systems aren't air gapped, or if there's like a reason why they like have to be online, networked, available, like they want to connect to it from their houses and things like that. Because I guess, and second to that, the fact that I know before we discussed some of the password management techniques, that they were like sharing passwords, something to that effect. They weren't resetting the passwords and things of that nature. So I'm curious about, they can do all they want with putting up a cybersecurity, like, a barrier in front of their systems. But if they're not, managing the passwords properly, and if these systems are available online, if like before, I think they mentioned something that Teams was involved in it. And I know with Teams, all you need is a password for the account. And you just like log in. Unless they're going to have some sort of like access control policy where you have to be in a certain location, only certain IPs, like you have to be in your home IP. It's the only way they can connect to it. And something to that effect, that they're actually restricting access to the infrastructure. I'm still a little leery as far as all the steps they've taken, because there may be some also internal training that needs to happen to make sure that people are aware of, how they're maintaining their passwords, how they're, accessing these systems. And, the fact that they're not air gapped, it's a little concerning. I'm not sure. We talked about this last time too, but I'm not sure if this is something that's pretty common with these energy locations, any supply locations, that they're like accessible from the internet. If that's like a kind of a business practice to, make sure that they can get to it quickly. If maybe something goes down, they can get to the system real fast and make sure they fix it before anything breaks. But nonetheless, that it's good to see that they're taking steps, however they are, to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because, God forbid that somebody accesses the water supply and adds some chemicals into it, and people start getting affected. People start, dying or getting really sick. That can be a very bad look on them, and that can cause some people to get, let go for sure, at the very least. But with that, what do you think about this, Shannon? You have any thoughts on the?
So after we did our podcast last week, I started thinking about a few different things, right? So we were talking about, why would you have it set up without, having a firewall and all this, and like you're talking about, why is it not air gapped? Why is it not separated from the internet or whatnot? And I started thinking about my own history, right? So when I was stationed in Florida, we used to have this on call for our server room. It was a pager. We may have some listeners who don't know what pagers are, but there were these one-way devices where you could put a number in, right? It would notify you. It wasn't a phone, it was before sidekicks even. But like we used to have a paging system for whenever our server room, whenever the climate control got out of whack, right? But we always had a rule that you had to respond within a certain amount of time, right? So you would have to go to the server room, open it up, figure out what the problem was, bring stuff down if need be, whatever. I started thinking about this last week, and I was like, this may be one of those things where maybe people don't live in Oldsmar, right? Like maybe they live in Tampa, or they live out farther out to where they just couldn't get back at a certain amount of time, as well as with COVID, right? So people weren't going in as often. So maybe this is one of the reasons that led to them doing this whole virtual approach of being able to remote in, right? Now, this gets into something we discussed last week, right? When it comes to convenience and security, right? Engineers want to be convenient for them, right? Or technicians want to be convenient for them. I just want to be able to go to my laptop or my computer and say, okay, yeah, let's do this, that, and the third. The security folks are like, well, if you're going to do that, we say the best way to do it is to not do it at all, right? Air gap it, don't have that connection at all, or implement this, that, and the third, right? To make it secure, which is what they're doing here. So good on them, right? There's like a security suite from, what was it? SNC was what it was. Make sure I got that right. SNC
Sierra Nevada Corporation.
Yeah. Binary Armor is the suite that they use. Like I was like, okay, good for them, right? Like they got scared after seeing somebody else almost poison a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Good for them for taking action on that. You know what I mean? And if that is the case, here's the thing. I doubt it was just the plant themselves that said, okay, we're going to do this. The city probably said, we can't allow this to happen. So let's free up some money somewhere that maybe you didn't have before to make this a reality. You know what I mean? So, and as to what you were mentioning with Ryan, with like the power grid and whatnot, like with electrical, like I'm pretty sure after everything that has happened this week, down in Texas, like I'm pretty sure they're gonna start getting some attention too. Like I realize it's for a different reason, you know what I mean? But maybe this will make other places come back, take a look, and be like, maybe we should look a little bit better at this to make sure we are actually secure. But no, this is a good thing. Like it's never a bad thing to add more security from a cybersecurity perspective, right? But if you're an engineer or technician, right, it's gonna suck a little bit. You know what I mean? You have some extra hurdles you're gonna have to go through, changing passwords every so often, things of that nature, right? That are probably gonna be implemented. So no group accounts, hopefully, right? Hopefully. But it's a good thing. Like you can't go wrong with this from a cybersecurity aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would think that there'll be some sort of regulation that's going to come down just because of what happened at Oldsmar. So, each administration is different. I think this one is pretty cyber focused. So I can see some stuff coming down. And then, I didn't even think about it. So when they go to winterize those Texas systems, maybe they can go in and also add a few security not applications, but appliances and things of that nature. Because there's a safe way to do remote work, like VPN concentrators, V-edges, all that good stuff. Like you can make encrypted channels to do your work remotely. Like they were just using RDP. They're kicking it old school. And they're using Paint and RDP, making it happen. So hopefully the lesson was learned and they'll improve from there. But only time will tell. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like hopefully it stays a hot topic so they actually do something.
Right. That's important. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's like something that everybody uses. Obviously, everybody uses a water supply in that location, so they need to be on top of their game. They should use the highest level of cybersecurity protection that they can for the water supply. Because imagine if somebody with like I don't know, somebody with like true, I don't know, maybe what do you call those? Oh man, I can't think of the name when like a country like backs their hackers. Was it?
Nation.
State sponsored.
State sponsored.
Sponsors. Yeah. If they're like actually trying to get to the water system there, and it's like they have like the weakest system in place, and now sharing passwords, and all it takes is some like fake email, some spam email with click on here to check your account or whatever, and they're getting the passwords easily, get access to the water supply, and do all kinds of malicious stuff that affects a lot of people. So I'm glad they're taking the steps to fix this. But I guess on that note, we can maybe slide into the next topic that I'm gonna cover for you guys is the kind of related to cybersecurity in a way. This one is came across this article from the Ars Technica. Ars Technica. Yeah. So this one is the title is new browser tracking hacks. A hack works even when you flush cache or go incognito. So I thought this was a pretty good, pretty interesting article. Essentially, there's a new technique that these websites are using to kind of track your access, even if you're clearing your cookies or you're going incognito mode. Essentially, it's using the favicons, which is the little tiny icons that are in the top corner of your browser. When you go to a website, you see the little icon that kind of represents the page that you're at. And so what they're doing is essentially they're since most browsers cache this image in a location that's separate from where they store site data like browsing history and cookies, like even if you clear your cookies, you're not going to be clearing this favicon icon that's been downloaded into your computer. And so what some of these companies are doing, they're actually embedding code in the favicons to identify you. And obviously, similar to cookies, what they're doing is being able to track your browsing habits and see what site you're going to. Like if you ever notice when you're going to a website, maybe you're shopping for something and you look at it for a couple of minutes and then you're going to another website someplace else, and all of a sudden you see ads for the other site that you went to earlier. If you went to Best Buy or something, you see the Best Buy ads pop up for TVs. If your name's Shannon Tynes and you're buying like 5 or 6 TVs at a time, then you may have see some advertisements for TVs popping up. So it's something like that. So essentially they're able to embed the code into the favicons, and still be able to track your habits, even if you're going incognito. It downloads this data into like a separate location on your computer that's not affiliated with your cookies and some other browsing history data. So with that, it's kind of like there's no way to circumvent it without disabling that functionality altogether. So the article does mention that you can disable it on all the popular browsers, Edge, Chrome, Firefox. You can just go, there's some links in there, but you can actually disable that functionality if you feel like concerned about that. I'm not sure how widespread this issue is, but it's concerning for people that want to, stay anonymous on the internet. They don't want to have their history tracked and websites knowing where they're going, or like know that they're like a repeat visitor, and be able to like send them advertisements and things like that. I'm not sure there's much. I try to remember all the details in articles, but I don't think there's much as far as like they're not going to hack into your computer and like get into your system or anything like that. But they're just going to be able to track your browsing and things like that. So if you're concerned about your privacy, that this may be an issue. But with that, I'll turn to you guys. You have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, it surprised me. So I didn't even know those things had a name, right?
Yeah.
So because when you used to go to the other side of the firewall.com, it would just be a default. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, I wonder if I can add something there. So I was playing around with the company who I built the website through, and I found that there was a location. They didn't call it favicon though. And then I put in the thumbnail that I use for everything else, and now it pops up. So I did not know that was a thing that's being saved somewhere other than my browser history.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like, I don't like you said, I don't know how it can be exploited. Like, obviously, if you want to be incognito, now there's another way to track your habits. But I don't know. Like, I'm not clever enough to think of a way to exploit it to my advantage. Like, I could probably use it on my kids so I can know their browsing habits.
Right. Yeah.
I could probably do that. And I'm like, okay, I can look at all these thumbnails and figure out where you've been at.
Right. That's a good point.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that too, just in general. Like if, I never really looked into that too much, but if you're able to just go into somebody's computer and look at the favicon list, and you'd be able to see all the sites they went to just by looking at the icons, like, oh, this is from, I don't know. This is from some naughty website or something.
I was like, what word is he going to use?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was trying to think, where would Shannon go right now? Let me think.
What word is he going to use?
I'm throwing Shannon to the bus. Like,
all these favicons out here.
Right. Bootybooty.com. What are you going to? I had an old friend that used to say that all the time. Bootybooty.com. I don't even know if it's the site or not, but
we out here giving free advertisements.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool though.
So here's my thing, right? So first off, yes, when I saw this, I was like, how am I going to hide my porn now? No, I'm just
kidding. I knew it.
But no, what I really thought though was, okay, so I already give up everything to be tracked, right? Like I'm a Best Buy Rewards member. I have an app where I go to Qdoba to order food. Like I get all these emails for all these things. I'm tracked already, right? I don't really worry about them because I've accepted the risk for that. How long is it going to be before somebody that wants to do me harm finds a way to use this to their advantage, right? That's what worries me more is that how long is it going to be before, okay, because like I don't know if by using the favicons, like am I still going to get the lock to show me my site is secured when I say this is a favorite, right? Like, are they going to be able to circumvent that? Because it's kind of what you look for. It's one of the first things you look for, right? Is that lock when you go to a website. Be like, okay, secure, yeah, this, that, and the third. But I'm more worried about the people that can use this to their advantage to do ill will. And here's the thing, in this day and age, like we are getting to this point where we figure out these vulnerabilities exponentially faster than what we used to. You know what I'm saying? So being tracked was not a big deal for me. I was just like,
sure,
whatever. I accept that risk. It's whatever, you know. Best Buy, now you got this many inch TVs. Okay, you already got me. I'm not getting any more from you. You know,
that's right.
But no, it's that's what worries me more. And I think that time, like I said, that time is getting shorter and shorter and shorter for people that don't just want to take you as the data point, right? Like people that are tracking you, these companies, before it's somebody that wants to do you harm and maybe wants to extort you, it's some type of ransom or whatever. I'm not a big company or anything like that, so I doubt I'm their target. But I don't know. When we blow up, though, that is going to be the case. When this side of the football blows up, we will be a target then.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that as well. Like if you're somebody of importance, and maybe you're browsing bootybooty.com, and then you're all of a sudden you're getting like I don't know, somebody's tracking you, knowing that you're going to the site, and then they're gonna be like put you up for ransom, or say like it's even worse than that. Say if you're going to some illegal sites that that we know that are out there or something like that. Maybe they track that information and then say, hey, I noticed that you've been here, and we're going to use this as a way to get a ransom out of you or get some money out of you.
Blackmail,
Yeah, some blackmail, like, hey, that kind of thing. So that's a good point. I didn't think about that as well.
Yeah, potentially. Like, yeah, I can't think of anything clever. Like,
yeah,
say all the above.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
All the above. Yeah, I didn't. Now I know those things have a name. That blew me right there. I was like, hey,
yeah, right.
Not
right.
just thumbnails.
Yeah, right.
So,
icons.
That's nice. Next week, like FireEye somehow is wrapped up in these favicons.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Crazy stuff. Hey, listeners. Please remember that you can support this podcast directly by becoming members of the show's Patreon. Here, you will be able to listen to the podcast 7 days early, completely ad-free. However, in these trying times, we understand that you may not be able to become a Patreon just yet. In that case, please listen to the show once it's available on free feeds, leave us constructive feedback, and share with your blurred friends and family. Thank you. So I would say topic 2. Blow me away with topic 2.
All right. So from TheVerge.com, right? The title of this article is PSA. If you use Slack on Android, you might want to update your password, right? So there was a bug introduced in December that stored some passwords in plain text, right? Which is what you never want, right? You always want your password masked. You never want it to be seen in plain text for any reason at all. Now again, this is only if you used it on Android, right? Which Android has, how many users out there, and in this day and age with Slack is like it's like a business collaboration tool, right? So this is one of those things where you will have companies out there that are using this, right? Like there's different things you can use out there for business collaboration that people are probably putting this on their phone, right? Like people are on the go when they're doing these meetings. So they're just like, I know there are some times when we have meetings at my job where some people are not in the office. They're on their phones doing it, right? If not at home, doing it on their computer. And this is one of those things where they could be at risk, right? So what they're saying is that the Android version of Slack, the Slack app, stores users' credentials in plain text between December 21st and January 21st, theoretically, meaning that other apps on your phone could have had access to them, right? So let me try this again. Other apps on your phone could have had access to them. So this is one of those things where even when we download it, right? So how many of us really pay attention to what else needs access to a program whenever we do it, right? Most of the time it's just like, all right, allow, whatever. But if you're allowing something that's going to allow your password to be put out there in plain text, though, like that's not what you want. You always want it masked. You never want it to where people are able to see it. Like there are some like services that you can subscribe to where you can ask them before you do it, and that like if you call their support, they'll tell you, right? They'll be like, oh no, we don't store anything in plain text or anything like that. It's always masked, this, that, and the third. Because it's just not what you want. You don't want it to be where someone at one of these companies, someone at Slack, right? Slack Technologies, they could have a bad actor there that's just going through and like, just for the sake of argument, the president uses Slack. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, let's see, we can see what he's looking at and log into his account, this, that, and the third. It's just not what you want. You know what I mean? So this was one of those that I read that I was like, oh man, like that's not a good look. And you don't want that from anyone, let alone like a business collaboration type type software,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is one of those things that, man. So they tell you to upgrade the version, right? You have to upgrade. They've put an upgrade out there for it, so it's already fixed. But if you haven't changed your password since you've updated from that old version, they make a suggestion for you to do so that you don't get caught up in this, right? Because if somebody
Right.
has that password, okay, you updated to where now it's masked, right? When you put it in Slack, but if you use the same password that they already have access to, what good does that do you, right?
Right.
So
Right. That's a good point.
yeah,
I know we talked about it before. Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said, what's your thoughts on it? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there too. I was just going to say, yeah, I think it's that's a great point that you brought up as well. The fact that obviously it's one thing just to update the software and then you still have the same password. They still can get access to your system if they retrieved your password initially. And then like a lot of people are, I'm not gonna say they're lazy, but people use the same password for like a lot of same applications and different websites. So if somebody got access to that and they know your email address, maybe they could probably hop into some other random site, use the same password. Maybe even like if you use your email account, and they can go to your email your email provider and just use that same password, and lo and behold, it works as well. So this is one of those things that you just got to be careful about. And obviously, people should be maintaining the passwords. I always mentioned before, maybe using a password manager of some sort just to kind of keep track of your passwords and kind of keep them different between service providers. Because I use one, and I pretty much all my passwords are different, and I use like a random password generator for the most part. So I don't really even know my passwords for any of these sites. So I just use that to kind of help me stay secure. And then I use multi-factor authentication, MFA. So that's always a big thing for me as well. But yeah, it's one of those things. And like you went to as well, Shan, that the fact that who knows, like if some big wig somewhere has maybe have some important conversations in Slack, and then all of a sudden someone has access to their account, the password, and they can log in there. And like we just talked about, just kind of daisy chain from that account to maybe something else that they have important access to because they're using the same password, because it's like convenient and easy to remember that one password. You just connect to something else and maybe something else in their environment, maybe a banking account or something like that. So even though it's just kind of like a small issue, it's like it can turn into something big if people aren't careful. And that's kind of my thoughts on that. Do you have any thoughts on it as well, Brandon? Ryan? Brandon. I combine you guys into one. Brandon.
Yeah, no, the same thing. Yeah, definitely. Regardless if your password was send plain text or not, now you have to change it because you don't know, like you said, you don't know what other sites may have been using the same password or information sharing, right? I've never used Slack. I've heard of it before, but if it's anything like most social media accounts, it integrates itself into other things. So you can use Slack to log into this or that, or maybe you just use the same passwords for everything. So with that being said, change your stuff and cut on MFA because I hate it, but it works. Like we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Like I almost got hacked. Like for whatever reason, somebody got a hold of one of my passwords and was able to pivot from one nonsense account that I didn't need to one I actually cared about, like within a matter of minutes. So people out there selling you stuff, like if they have the ability to, and I don't. The way they made it seem was that like you said, the stuff was still, even though it was not encrypted, so to speak, it was in a private log, but data breach, right? So we don't know where else that was shared at. So for all we know, a different website did not put it in the log. Instead, it was just send plain text to that website as well. And that's all a bad person needs. Is need the username and password of one account, and then now they're in 3 accounts. So
Right.
that's
Absolutely.
that's the cold hard truth of it all. So I kind of wanted to switch, like you said, to like a password wallet that would randomize all my passwords. But my fear is that I won't know any of my passwords.
Right.
If I lose access to my
You
wallet, then
lose
I'm
that.
locked out of
Right.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm still debating about that.
Yeah. It's um, I do something else that's probably not popular with a lot of people, but I did my research and I feel that it's secure enough, at least with Edge. But I actually use the save my password for this website through Edge, and it actually it saves your password in a I forgot the encryption level that they use, but it's a highly encrypted file within your computer that saves the password data. And obviously, you can only access it if you know the password for your actual system itself. And it's and if you decided to, you can have it replicate to other devices, or if you can sync your devices. But I know it's probably not popular with a lot of people, but I did enough research and I feel comfortable with it that I'm using that as well. So you don't necessarily have to type in your password every time you go to the website. Or even like access your password manager per se. It will just automatically kind of plop in your password automatically to the website. Or if it has a cookie, you just log right back in.
Yeah, so it sounds kind of like KeyPass, because
Yeah.
Apple does that. Apple does that as well. So that
Yeah.
one I do use because it's tied to my thumbprint, so I feel a little bit more secure about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't. It doesn't sync with any computer that I have except for my iMac. Just because of the nature. Like, nobody else is using Safari. Like, you're not gonna find Safari on a work computer.
Right.
So just those two systems share that sync feature. But I usually it's exclusively on my phone. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So I think that's pretty safe. Like, obviously anything's hackable, right? But
right. It's like it's all about your level of comfort and how much functionality you want. Obviously, it's if you want to be super super secure, I don't know. I was going to say like, yeah, super secure. Have your password written down and locked in a safe somewhere or something. But no, it's just like you just memorize all your password. They'd all be different in your head. You would have to just type it in whenever you felt like it and make sure everything is good. That'd be like the most secure way of doing it. But obviously, people don't have a memory for that to remember every password for every site that's different. Unless they use some sort of like mental code that they use that analogy to remember the password for every site. But I think it's just one of those things you got to determine your level of comfort, security, and functionality that you want to use to secure your devices. But I think it's good to use password manager of some sort.
I'm too shook. I'm too shook to let it save mine. I'll be like, oh no, never. I can't hit it fast enough. Never.
Right.
Never.
I know, right?
But like I'm getting to the point now where like a password manager is very much in my future, right? So like for me, like I work with the Department of Defense, so like I have different machines I log into, different passwords, stuff at home that I gotta remember. Like I gotta remember stuff that I'm like, now I'm to the point where I'm like, man, which one is this now? You know what I mean? Like, is it this one? No, okay, all right. Is it this one? No, okay. Like I'm getting to the point where I'm it's gonna be well into my daily use to use the password manager, which is crazy because my antivirus software provides me one. You know what I mean? I'm not using it, so but.
Right.
I mean, I have it that I'm already paying for it every year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So might as
Right.
well use it. So yeah.
It's true. Yeah, might as well take advantage of it. It's like, yeah, I think it's the point. I know I got to that point where I just had too many sites I was going to that I couldn't remember all the passwords, especially if I wanted to make them unique. Unless you just want to like, kind of be lazy, as I said earlier, just like make them all the same password, then that may be more risky than, securing your password with like a manager, like using a password manager to secure, to lock down your password and keep a track of all the passwords you have for your accounts. And in fact, like I mentioned before, like, the thing that Ryan doesn't like too much with the MFA, if that's enabled, that's like a great blocker. Even if you use the same password, as long as you have an MFA in place, you know exactly when somebody tries to connect to your account, because all of a sudden you get like a text or something and you'll be like, oh, somebody's trying to log into my account. They're trying to verify, and they can't verify, of course, the second factor. Unless they have access to your phone too, which has happened in the past, but it's very, very minute chance of somebody getting your phone as well as your, password and everything like that. Or whatever, even if you have like an application yourself that you're using, like the password apps. Yeah, authenticators. That's right. Yeah. Authenticators. So those are kind of like a minute risk of that happening. But overall, I think MFA is like, it's kind of like what everybody's pushing nowadays, especially Microsoft. They're pushing MFA. Even if you have passwords that are the same across, I think Microsoft's getting to a point where they're saying like, oh, we don't want people to have passwords anymore anyway. People just have like facial recognition or like, or if they have like a device that's like recognized by the company, like, oh, this is your device that you always log in with, so we automatically give you a connection or whatever, something to that effect. I don't know, but they want to get like the point where you're at passwordless, and you know, and you have like a multi-factor authentication source somewhere as well. So I think that's where the future is. We'll see how quickly we get there.
Yeah, ultimately, I will go for the facial recognition and the thumbprint, like just the
Yeah,
bio. Like
yeah,
again, all this stuff, like someone will find a way around it. But I'm just tired of passwords.
yeah, yeah.
Like it always feel like somebody's getting a hold of it somehow, some way. So it is kind of annoying. It's kind of like how they took the numbers off cards. I think
Mhm.
it's kind of the way we need to go as well. But
Yeah. And real
time.
quick, I'll touch. Yeah, I was gonna say real quick, I'll touch on that too. Just real quick, I just want to say that the people are out there too that actually don't want that because they're like, oh, put my thumb in there. Now they got my thumbprint. The government's, tracking my fingerprint. Now they got my face in there, and they don't. They got all this privacy, privacy concerns. So there's that
Yeah,
argument as well.
It seems like
but
there's a lot more conspiracy theorists out there than what there used to
Right,
be. I tell you that.
right. It's true.
but
That's true. It's become a
yeah,
big
I
thing.
mean, what are they going to do with that information anyway? It's already out there. Like, so I went through a passport checkpoint in Israel, and it scanned my face, and it let me in.
Mhm.
Now, where they got
Right.
the face data
Yeah.
from, don't know, no clue.
Right.
But like a foreign country had it, so
Yeah. That's funny.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean. It's like
I've been.
it's out there.
But
Yeah.
think of where you were and think of who you work for, right? So like it was an ally, you know what I mean, that had it, and you work for the Department of Defense. You know what I'm saying? So
If
like,
Israel has it, China has it.
Yeah. That's
hey,
right.
I'm not down that. I'm not down that. But like,
Russia's somewhere making a 3D mask right now on my face.
Right. They put it on like a Total Recall or something.
I'm like, why is Ryan walking around all day talking about 2 weeks? Like, what is
Yeah.
2 weeks?
Like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, have you ever actually pulled your digital fingerprint? I was in a CISP class, and the instructor told me you can go to Facebook and you can request a copy of your digital footprint. You can say, "Give me that
Oh,
data." That is gigs and gigs of data if you try to actually pull it. I think my coworker, because you can ask for it, and then you can ask them to expel it. So you can like
right.
say, "Purge me from the internet," which is not the case. They're only purging you from the parts of the internet that Facebook touches. But he pulled it,
Mhm.
and his was like a terabyte.
Mm,
So what is
man.
in there? What is in that
Yeah.
file? That's a terabyte. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy. A friend of mine actually, they did that too. They wanted like, I'm done with Facebook now. Like, they were tired of all the stuff on Facebook. So they like, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to save all my data. And it took them like a good 2 or 3 days to download the data that they had for
yeah,
that person into whatever, like, offline uh, storage he had set up. So I believe it's probably terabytes of data they probably have
yeah.
for people.
Just the metadata by itself. Your face is in different places. Like, so
Mhm.
for me, I don't let people tag me by face because like Facebook knows your face. So
Mhm.
I remember I was coaching flag football, and I took a picture of the kids like, at the end of the season. I took a picture of the kids and I put it on Facebook, and it tagged their parents automatically because their
Mm.
face had been in so many of their parents' pictures that it knew that it had the association already built into it.
Mhm.
And then that's when I
Wow.
told Facebook to never tag me again.
Right.
So don't tag me
Leave me
nobody.
alone. That's right. That's right. That's why Shannon's not on Facebook. He knows. He's like, I know better.
Look, I just use the messenger function. That is it. And like
Right.
I've told my family when it comes to my children, I was like, do not put my children on your Facebook pages. That's been a standing thing with us for years. Like, do
Mm.
not do it. You know what I mean? That's just one of those things. Now, for me, it wasn't a privacy thing. It's there's creeps out there type thing, right? Like, it's my
Mm.
Right.
children were young. You know what I mean? See pictures of my children. I mean, they're part daddy, so they're beautiful and as handsome as ever. You know what I mean? So I can't just
Right.
have them out there. I mean, it'll get them some modeling contracts or something, but
Right. Right. Let me
outside of that, I want
rich and
them to stay
famous.
away. Yeah, I want them to stay away from creeps. You know what I mean? You're fine as an adult. You know what I mean? I can remember my daughter. The one thing she asked for when she turned 16, when my daughter turned 16, the only thing she wanted was a Facebook account. She was like, "That's all I want, Dad." All her friends had Facebook,
Right.
and everybody was sharing stuff on there, stuff going on in their lives and their pictures. And was like, you know what? No, Daddy will spend money instead of let people a Facebook account. You know what I mean? But she's an adult now, right? Like she can do what she want to do. I can make you aware of the pitfalls. You know what I mean? Which
Right.
she had to figure out on her own, right? There were some people that would send stuff to her that she's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? But I don't have to deal with that. I have no Facebook friends. I just use the messenger function. That is it.
Right.
No other social media for me. Maybe hey, look, I might be one of those guys you talking about, Levon. I might have my tinfoil hat sitting over here somewhere, being like, this
That's right. Yeah.
might, put it on my head.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. It's almost like the part of me is like, dang. But I feel like Facebook to me, more so than anything else, is like just a good way to keep up with everybody and see how people are doing. And that's pretty much all I use it for the most part, just to see how people are doing. I catch up with old friends, and somebody has like a big life moment. They got married, they have kids or something. I don't like, I'm in martial arts. People got a rank update. They got a new belt. They turned to black belt. I'm like, oh damn, black belt. Oh man, you're amazing. That kind of thing. So, but I completely understand like not wanting to interface. And I feel like a lot of times social media is such a drain. It's like takes so much of your energy, as well as like just like you're always on there. You kind of get addicted. You start scrolling like. I forgot the term they use, but you're like doom scrolling and you're looking at things. And you're like, if you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're on whatever else, Reddit, and all those other places that you just gotta kind of get sucked in. And like like we were mentioning, you put your data out there, you put your location. People tag themselves and like, oh, I'm on vacation now, and the house is like empty, and now there's like somebody that wants to get into their property. Is like, oh, I know you're on vacation now, so let me go ahead and access your your stuff. So it's kind of like there's a lot of concerns about just being on the social media all the time, and I think it's good to kind of take a step back and not even be a part of it, which I can definitely understand from your perspective for sure.
Yeah, I just want to integrate it in my brain. I'm sorry, the middleman.
Yeah.
I don't want to use my phone.
That's right.
Take pictures of my eyes.
Yeah.
Right. Make it simple.
Yeah.
But I guess with that being said, we can move on to what we've been playing and or watching. What have y'all been getting into?
So I've been sticking up with the Warrior, the show on HBO Max.
Oh, so you said it's HBO Max?
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, because I was like Netflix.
Yeah.
I kept typing like Warrior on Netflix is a motorcycle game TV show.
Yeah. Like what the hell? This is not what he's talking about. Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
Gotcha.
I've been like digging HBO Max lately. They have a lot of good content on there, but Warrior is like that's the stuff right now to me. That's like one of my favorite shows right now. I've been watching. I've watched in a while now. To me, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys watched The Boys when I came on Amazon Video. But,
yeah.
That was a pretty good one for me too. When the first season came out, I was like, oh my God, look at this crap. This is bananas. But the Warriors, like they're doing it proper. They have some good good action scenes, good fighting, all this kind of stuff, and it's really dramatic, and all these gang tussles, and like I said before, the cops and all this kind of stuff getting involved. So it's pretty hot. I think you guys would enjoy it. But that's been my viewing at the moment.
Yeah, I'm excited because HBO Max. I think they said they will go international in June. So hopefully in June, fingers crossed, I actually be able to use my account over here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that'd be good.
So watch that Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat movie's coming out on HBO Max. I think a few other. I think the King Kong versus Godzilla versus King Kong, or whatever, is coming out on HBO Max.
Snyder Cut coming out on HBO Max.
Snyder Cut. That's right. Yep. Justice League.
Either gotta find somebody with it, or I gotta just go radio silent until June so I can watch it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. They got some big hitters coming down the pipe on HBO Max, so I've been kind of tuning into that quite a bit lately. And then I've been playing my games, playing some. Mostly been playing Destiny lately, trying to level up my character and stuff like that. But and play a little bit of the Control. I know you mentioned that as well, Ryan. You've been playing Control, but I've been playing that as well. I'm a little bit further, I think, than you maybe, unless you've been playing it a lot lately. But I'm getting close to the end of that game, I believe. So
okay,
it's pretty.
So
pretty tight.
I need to catch up then, because I kind of want to do a spoiler cast on it.
Yeah.
Because that's another project I want to work on. So I'm gonna try to catch up to you, and then we could talk about it.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But I haven't played it at all this week.
Yeah, yeah. I've been kind of busy too, so I haven't played it that much either. But it's fun. It's a good game. It's a good game. They did some good job on that. And I didn't know until the prior podcast that you mentioned that same people that did Max Payne. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's Remedy. So Max Payne, Alan Wake. They had the one that Microsoft owns the IP, where the guy's traveling through time.
Oh, I think I know what
Oh
you're
man,
talking
what's
about.
it called? It's gonna kill me if I don't remember what it's called. But it has the dude who played Littlefinger from Game of Thrones as one of the characters.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they
I
made
think I know
that
what
into
you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. I know what
yeah,
you're talking about.
quantum
Yeah,
something.
yeah. It's like quantum something, right?
Yeah. But for the most part, I just been crashing out watching YouTube, a lot of YouTube, just stuff on how to take the show to next level, like how to properly do interviews, how to post social media, stuff like that. So as you can see, we're video now, so making progress.
Mhm.
Did not play Control. I need to play Control. Play Tetris a bunch.
Yeah.
It's just whenever my brain gets like when I play, I want to do something with my brain. I play a little
Yeah.
Tetris.
Is that on Switch? Is that the one you're playing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that one too.
Yep.
You play up until like 99 people or something like that. Is that how it
Yeah,
works?
Tetris 99. But you can also
Yes.
play like if you pay like it's free, and if you pay $10, then you get to unlock where you can play against the computer. You can play just the regular mode. They have a bunch of just different stuff you can do that's not against real people. But
Hmm.
the free version is against 98 other people.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Shannon over here, like, look at these nerds talk about Tetris
I,
99.
I, you bring up Tetris, man. My grandmother, you remember Dr. Mario,
Yeah.
where it was kind of Tetris with the pills and they were different
Yeah.
colors and whatnot?
Right.
My
That.
grandmother was a beast at that. I remember I showed up at her house one summer. She used to take the grandchildren on for the summer. We showed up at her house one summer, man, and we were like, Dr. Mario, like, when did she even get a gaming system, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're playing it and whatnot, and we're like, Nanny, you should play this game. She's like, oh, okay. Let me tell you something, man. She was retired. She ain't have nothing to do, and she put us kids to shame on some Dr. Mario, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, she would start it to where the levels were higher, like how it gets like all high when you go to the
Right.
higher levels and whatnot. And I'm
Mhm.
like, how are you doing this? I'm like, your hands should not be faster than mine. I'm a kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, but for me, I just been watching different TV shows and whatnot. I've had some people suggest other stuff to me. I started watching Billions. I started watching the first season of that.
Hmm.
That's an interesting show. Um,
I haven't heard that
Billion,
one.
yeah, it's Paul Giamatti and Damian Lewis, and Paul Giamatti is a U.S. attorney, not a U.S. Attorney in New York, and he's trying to go after this big. He's not a hedge fund guy. Is it a hedge fund? Maybe it is a hedge fund. I don't know financial stuff. But this
Mhm.
billionaire, they're just going back and forth. Like he's trying to get him to put him on a case. But I like Paul Giamatti. You know what I mean? Like I like him as an actor. I think he's versatile in what he does. I've seen him in comedies and like 30 Rock, and then I've seen him be serious. I'm not going to hold Lady in the Water against him. You know what I mean? That's one of those. I'm going to be like well, everybody gets a pass, but
I like that
um,
movie. That's
no,
good to
you
say.
don't. No, you don't. Are you serious?
I enjoyed that movie.
Oh
It
my!
was so weird. It was so weird. It was good.
You don't give me any more movie suggestions, Ryan. Like I am
I
done
have I
listening
have
to.
I have a very wide taste of movies.
Ah, man,
It's like, oh
that's too
no.
weird. That's too weird for me.
It was
Uh,
very weird.
yeah, but no, because I like him, like I gave the show a shot. So I'm almost in the first season of that. Um, I still haven't played any video games. I gotta get some video games up on that TV to see what it looks like. Not like I'm
Right.
gonna return it. Not like I'm gonna return it if it looks bad. I just be like, all right,
Right.
this is my
Yeah.
life now. You know what I
Right.
mean? But no, that's pretty much it. Uh, Watching, I caught a couple basketball games. I got Hulu Live, so I've been without cable for almost 2 years now, and
Oh
so I
wow.
got Hulu Live. So I started watching. Yeah, I would catch like football on the Yahoo Sports app or something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I started watching a couple basketball games. Like, oh, okay, this is different without any fans in the stands. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
caught a little bit of that. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Nothing other than that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's
That's
up.
what's
So
up.
I didn't hear nothing about studying. Not one
A little
minute
Yeah.
about
bit,
studying.
a little bit. So a little bit, a little bit of studying. Not as much as I should have, but a little bit.
Gotcha.
Right.
Got it.
Right. Still work in progress a little bit.
Got
That's
it.
good
Yeah.
though.
So since I'm not supposed to recommend movies to you, I did watch one movie. It was called Bliss. It's an Amazon joint. It's got uh,
Owen Wilson,
Owen Owen
Selma
Wilson and
Hayek.
Selma Hayek.
They
Did you
almost
see it?
got me.
Did you see
No,
it?
I almost was gonna watch it because it's Selma Hayek, but I was
Mm.
like, Owen Wilson, nah, I'll pass.
Owen
They-
Wilson and Selma Hayek. Yep. It's The Matrix meets Inception meets I don't know.
Some
Even
craziness.
you're like, I don't know. Even you're like, I don't know. Like that's way too far gone for me. Like if even you're like, I like weird stuff, and you're like, I don't know about this.
I like
I'm
Uh-uh.
the
not.
concept. I like the concept. But I was just like, yeah, well, I mean, it was a movie. It was a movie.
It's
It was
Owen
a
Wilson.
movie.
That's why, man. Like if you don't have somebody else to back him up, like I'm just not a fan. Like Owen Wilson will not carry a movie by himself for me. So
Yeah.
and Selma Hayek is just eye candy. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't care if my wife hears this, but like seriously, I almost watched it just for her because I watched the trailer for it, right? Because I was like, okay, and then I see like I think I pick up on what the premise is, but
Right.
like sometimes she looks like a hobo, and then sometimes she looks good. Like, oh man,
Right.
so yeah,
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say, hey, it's a movie.
cross it off my list.
Right. But all
Yeah.
right. What are you about to say, Levon?
Oh no, I just had to pull it up just to look at it because I'd never heard of this one. But it looks like it is it got a 5.3 on IMDb rating, so and a 38 on Metacritic. So it doesn't seem like it's
I give it more than 38.
more than a 30.
It's a solid 40. It's a solid 40. I give it at least
Solid
a 40.
40. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Now they're just being offensive.
right. How dare they? What are they doing? Dang. Yeah.
I don't
I'm
trust
at the-
all those. I don't trust all those ratings when I see them either, though. Right? Like,
Yeah, not all of them for sure.
So I noticed some of them, like even Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes I'm like, nah, man. Like I ain't that high with it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't trust a lot of those reviews that be on there now anyway. Like for me, I'm one of those people that like even when it comes to stuff that I'm gonna buy, like when I go to Amazon, I don't read the 5s or the 1s. Like you're not gonna tell me
Right.
something is the absolute best or something is the absolute worst. No, granted, there probably is an absolute best and absolute worst out there, but the 2s and the 4s is where 2 through 4 is where I live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
especially if they're not saying anything in the review, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Or they knock it for something that's out of the control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it got stuck because of COVID. I'm giving it a 1. You're like,
Right. Yeah. It was delayed because of COVID. Now.
you're like, all right.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Just like you said, same thing with like Amazon reviews when you're buying products online. You read some of the reviews and it's like, I don't know, something off the wall that they didn't like about it. Like, I don't know, this table was too sturdy. I don't know why it was so sturdy. It should have.
It was off by 2 shades of red from what was on the box to what was on the.
Right. Yeah. The colors like.
Right.
Yeah. It's something crazy.
People they want what they want, but they want to spend, they want Amazon prices though. You're like, all right, well,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
you get what you get.
Yeah. That's true. I've been trying to share the wealth. I try not to go 100% on Amazon. I try to I go to Best Buy, I go to Walmart.com, I go to I don't know, Target.com. If I can find a similar deal, I would say I'm not gonna spend more money, but if I try to shop around a little bit. A lot of places do price match as well. So you see
Why
on
don't
Amazon.
you just deploy your bots, Levon?
Oh, those are already working. Oh yeah, that one. That's how I got my game systems.
I knew that was the case.
Just kidding.
Man, hopefully by the summertime we can actually talk about some of those games, but Not yet.
And I know I said this before, but I think right at the moment you're not really missing out on a whole bunch. It's not like a bunch of like. I mean, it's nice to have like faster load times, and you can get like some higher quality uh, like games or like higher frames per second. I guess is the biggest thing because it's like between at least like the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One X, they're very similar. It's as far as like graphical quality, but now you get like higher frame rate. And then I
Right.
think the same thing kind of with the PS5, with the PS4 Pro. It's like you get the higher frame rate. I mean, I think the graphics haven't like jumped so much that they're like out of this world. Like, oh my god, this is like I'm looking like it's like a virtual reality system here or something. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm in the game, but it's just more so just the higher frame rate and the faster load times. I think it's kind of the big things right now. And it's not like a huge amount of like next gen console exclusive games that are out that you can like, oh man, I gotta get to the store and play this game quick because this is my this can be the best game ever. There's nothing like big like that. Like even the Miles Morales game came out, PS5, PS4, and then even like I don't know, Valhalla, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that game came out on like both consoles and stuff like that. So I don't think right now. I'm just like throwing this out there, but obviously I'm saying this because I have both of the consoles, so I can say this right now. But it's like to me, even right now, I haven't actually played my PS5 that much. I've been mostly playing my Xbox. But with that said, it's like I don't think you're missing out like on a whole bunch. Like you have to have it now that you're going to be, like I said, missing out on a whole bunch of content that's out there that's coming out exclusively for the PS5.
So I know, and I'm not a very big gamer, so you guys may know this better than me, but it would seem like the gaming studios, right? Like they're not going to really be really warm to it until the cycle is coming up anyway, right? To where they're like,
Right.
okay, I got the feel of what the system can do and will provide when we build these games. So
Mm-hmm.
like having the Miles Morales and the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like they knew when the release date was, so they were like, okay, let's make sure we get something out there for that as well. But as we're
Right.
coming up on this next cycle, they're like, okay, let's start building to this next gen that is coming out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll
Right.
start having stuff that'll probably really be taking advantage of what the
Yeah.
system can do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta.
Usually, it's a couple years in before you start seeing the God of Wars and the what else do you have? The Horizon Zero Dawns and just like the games that you're like, man, it's crazy. The
Yeah.
Last of Us type games. It takes
Right.
a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to imagine these studios as well. They're looking at the established base, and obviously you don't want to 100% jump into like the next gen. Like you're not going to make any more games for like the PS4 because PS5 is out now. But there's only maybe they sold I don't know 10 million or something like that. However many they sold, I don't know. But they already have 60 or 70, 80 million PS4s out there that people are playing right now, and they're looking for games to play. So you're not going to forget those people. You're going to make sure that you're developing games for the prior console so that they
Yeah,
can
definitely.
buy all your content. So
Yeah, I think it's 100 million previous gen
yeah,
and
I
counting.
think you're right.
And I
Yeah, I think you're
forget
right.
they actually did drop numbers for this gen. I think it was like 20 mil or something like that. Like because they can't produce enough. Like
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they would definitely like to sell more if they could, but they just can't.
right.
So
Yeah, and it's gonna take a few years. Yeah, it's gonna take a few years for them to, I assume, to get up to that number of the current like
yeah,
PS4 numbers or Xbox One numbers, because obviously they've been around forever. They've been around for 6 or 7 years since the last console came out. So
hmm yeah. The only reason I want a PS5, to be honest with you, because I don't have the TV for it here anyway. But my I left the PS4 with the boys, and the Wi-Fi antenna is dying. So
mm.
like half the time you can't get it to connect to PSN. Um,
Oh wow, yeah,
yeah. So
that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
yeah. So
That's a
I
good
really
Why
just
excuse.
you
want to get.
so why you so hard on your gaming system, man? Like,
Yeah, right.
I bought that. I think it was what November 5th, 2013. I was standing out in the cold to get that joint.
Dang, that's
So
what's up.
it's
you
the
still got the
original.
first one you. Oh wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was the original. So it's on its last leg. So I'm like, man, I really do want to replace it because I feel bad because like I have a pro here I'm borrowing from a coworker. Um, but he has the original back at the crib, and he's trying to figure out ways to circumvent the process. He's like, well, if I take it up here, I could plug it into the router. There's no convenient solution. So it's like, man, you gotta suffer to the to the summer
Right.
or whenever they come back in stock.
Right.
He's gonna have so much ingenuity though. That's you training him, Ryan, to where he's gonna be like, all right, I gotta figure stuff out in life now. I can't just wait for it to work for me.
Right.
And sit here and complain about it. That's a good thing, right? Because he's trying to figure out solutions. So that ain't a bad thing.
Right.
Maybe you should get him Maybe you should get him stuff that's failing all the time. I'm just
That's
saying.
right. That's right.
Maybe. But yeah. But all right, I guess I should land the plane, right? We've been
Yeah.
circling.
I know. We can go on for hours talking about video games. So yeah, might as well wrap it up here.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a future project. Like I definitely want to do something with games in the future, but
Yeah.
it's only so much time in the day. I got to get more efficient, so I can or hire somebody. So
That's
speaking of which, shout out to the Patreon patron, Anthony Cater, for his support of the show, and for all of you listening to it on free feeds, please come over to the Patreon to get this 7 days completely ad free. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Shannon and Levon for hosting the show. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun. You can find us at, oh yeah, no problem, at www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. The Patreon is the other side of the firewall. The Twitter is @on_firewall. We actually do tweet. We out there tweeting stuff nowadays. You got the Facebook, which is the other side of the firewall, as well as the group. You have the Instagram, which I posted our first video clip this morning. I think it's morning time for you guys. So this morning I posted the first video clip. So you start to see more activity on IG. So that is the other side of the FW. And then on Twitter, I am Ry Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. And Levon?
That's still the regular ass Levon Maynard. Hit me up if you hit me back just to chat.
And don't forget, we're also on LinkedIn. So I've been getting a lot of activity on LinkedIn. So you still see
right.
the videos and the audio there as well. So if you go to LinkedIn, we're the other side of the firewall. Keep it simple. Or you can find me, Ryan Williams Sr. I think I'm senior on there. Might not be. But look for my face. This face. I think I'm wearing a green shirt.
Right. I was gonna say use the Facebook algorithms to find a face and then track it.
But yeah, definitely hit us up, connect, let us know what you like, what you don't like, so we can continue to improve on the show, and just listen to the content. Oh, YouTube, yeah. So we're on YouTube as of today. You'll see the first video episode, which is 13, which was the last episode. That'll be on YouTube. The YouTube channel is The Other Side of the Firewall. Keeping it simple. And then you'll see clips of episode 14 that we just shot throughout the week. So with that being said, thank you very much, and y'all be easy.
Take care.
Be easy.
Hey listeners, please remember that you can support this podcast directly by becoming members of the show's Patreon. Here you will be able to listen to the podcast 7 days early, completely ad-free. However, in these trying times, we understand that you may not be able to become a Patreon just yet. In that case, please listen to the show once it's available on free feeds, leave us constructive feedback, and share with your blurred friends and family. Thank you.